Welcome back. Today we're taking a closer look at some of the favorite parts of our trip to New York. We're starting at the New York Public Library, an architectural treasure that's been inspiring readers and dreamers since 1911. Next, we're stepping into Grand Central Terminal, where the ceiling itself is a masterpiece. And then we're going underground, literally. Grab some coffee, get comfy, and come wander New York with us. Let's dig into the details. You've seen it in movies, you've seen it in photos, but the New York Public Library is so much more than a pretty backdrop. It's one of the most iconic buildings in Manhattan, not just for its beauty, but for what it represents. Free, public access to knowledge on an epic scale. The library opened in 1911 after more than a decade of planning and construction. It was built on the site of a former reservoir, the Croton Distributing Reservoir, and when it opened, it was the largest marble building in the United States. How much marble, you ask? Over 530,000 cubic feet. That's roughly 40,000 tons. It took 6 years just to carve and install it all. The exterior walls are marble, the interior walls and columns are clad in it, key public space floors are marble, and the main staircases and their railings are carved marble. The library was designed in the Beaux Arts style, which is a French-influenced architectural movement that emphasized symmetry, classical detail, and you guessed it, grandiosity. From the moment you walk up those famous front steps, you're greeted by 2 marble lions, patience and fortitude. Those were the names given in the 1930s by Mayor LaGuardia when he declared that those were the virtues that New Yorkers would need to survive the Great Depression. Over time, patience and fortitude have become unofficial mascots of the city, decked out in wreaths for the holidays and celebrated in books and art. Step inside and you're surrounded by over 75 miles of shelves. And that's just this branch. It houses roughly 4 million volumes on site. And here's something you may not have known. Deep beneath the building are hidden book stacks and a vast conveyor system, once used to move requests from the lower levels to the Rose Room above. These underground levels are closed to the public, but they're still in use and still legendary. With its vaulted ceilings, enormous arch windows, and marble walls, the atmosphere is more along the lines of a palace than a library. Details matter here. Carved oak, gilded chandeliers, and painted ceilings transport you to another era. But nothing compares to the Rose main reading room. It spans nearly 2 city blocks and is the crown jewel of the library. It's lined with massive oak tables, green shaded lamps, and a ceiling that is a work of art alone, painted to resemble a blue sky with drifting clouds. And yes, you've seen it before. Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Day After Tomorrow, Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, and dozens of others. But here's the thing. The Rose Room isn't open for mere mortals to wander. It's still a working space and access is limited. So if you want to see it up close, you'll need to join a guided tour. Now for a little scandal. In the early 2000s, the library proposed a controversial plan to renovate and drastically shift its mission, including selling off branches and removing millions of research books. Of course, this caused a public outcry. Authors, historians, and everyday readers pushed back, and after intense debate, the plan was scrapped. A solid reminder that the library doesn't just belong to the city, it belongs to the people. The New York Public Library isn't just for reading, it's also a museum in its own right. Scattered throughout the building are rotating exhibits and permanent displays. They showcase everything from rare manuscripts to historical artifacts. You might stumble across a Gutenberg Bible, see Virginia Woolf's walking cane, or catch a photography exhibit tucked into one of the gallery spaces. And let's talk about this fountain. The figure is the symbolic figure of truth, reclining on a sphinx with the ever-constant flow of water, which represents that truth, like knowledge, is always moving, never static. A reminder of the library in the city and a way to seek clarity in the chaos. Bryant Park, a green oasis in Manhattan. It's a lunchtime hotspot and pro travel tip, the only clean public restrooms. Also, while walking on the grass is not illegal, just don't do it. Welcome to Grand Central Terminal, where it's completely normal to rush to catch a train and stare at the ceiling at the same time. This place isn't just a transit hub, it's a full-blown architectural flex. Opened in 1913, it was built to impress. The chandeliers alone are roughly 13 feet tall and 12 feet in diameter. Made of bronze and brass with 132 light bulbs per chandelier. The zodiac mural on that iconic sky ceiling, it's painted backwards. There are theories. Some say the reversal represented the celestial sphere as seen from outside, and some say it was an accident. Regardless, I think we can all agree it's perfect. I'm obsessed with the tile throughout the subway stations. Every station has its own personality, spelled out in tiny tiles, like a mosaic scavenger hunt across the city. And back in the early 1900s, architects George Hines and Christopher Grant Lafarge had a big idea: make it beautiful. And that they did. These weren't mass-produced. Each tile was carved, glazed, and fired with care. And they weren't just pretty. These designs helped people figure out where they were. Beavers at Astor Place for the Astor's family fur trade, or ships at South Ferry. Built-in breadcrumbs, subway style. It was all about making the underground not only usable, but beautiful as well. And today the belief is still going strong. Just a few of the modern day artists include Kusama, Kiki Smith, Fred Tomaselli, Lisa Davis, and Catherine Bradford. The new contemporary flair added to the historical craftsmanship. Subway tiles have always been more than just a decoration. They're the city's stories, written in tile, one subway station at a time. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. Make sure to subscribe to see where we end up next.